Sampurita pamita paramita balena vidvansiyo kila kilesa samohajalam teneva landa araham arahoti namam vandami buddha mamalam hadaye tapetva namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa arabhata nikkamata yunjata buddha sasane dunatha mattuno senam nalagaram vakunjarom yoimasmin dhamma vinaye appamatto viyessati pahaya jati sansaram dukkhasantam karissati janato aham bhikkhave passato asavanam kayam vadami no ajanato no apassatoti. Venerable members of the Mahasangha, dear nuns, friends in Dhamma, all of you are respectfully welcome to the Bhavana Society. On behalf of Mahasangha, on behalf of the Most Venerable Bhante Ji and Bhante Sadajiva and other resident monks, today we are going to start our annual monastic retreat conducted by Bhavana Society, West Virginia. At the very beginning of this session, I would like to convey my gratitude to the Mahasangha here, especially the Most Venerable Bhante Ji. We have received this very rare opportunity because of Bhante's great dedication that he has done for more than 7 decades. Wishing good health and longevity, I start this session. Here I hope to discuss vision and mission in Buddhism based on Sammaditthi Sutta and Mahachattariyasaka Sutta, which come in Majjhima Nikaya. The Supreme Buddha explains very clearly, Janato aham bhikkhave passato asavanam kayam vadami no ajanato no apassato. I proclaim the liberation for those who know the path, who see the path. When we start our spiritual journey, we should know what we practice, where we are going to. That is very important. You know, every place, every institute, every center, every school, every college or university has a vision and mission. When you enter a place, you can see some words saying there vision and mission. Vision means our final goal. Mission means what we do to achieve the final goal. Vision and mission. When we see the Buddha's message, Buddha always emphasizes the importance of having correct vision. It says in Buddhism in several words such as Sammaditthi, Ditti Sampanna, Jnana, aloka, chakku, panya. There are synonyms that we can see for vision in Buddhism. Especially, Buddha explains this vision as Sammaditthi or right understanding. Why do we need a vision before we start our spiritual journey? First of all, we should know the path before we start our spiritual journey. If we don't know the path, we can't reach the destination. Therefore, understanding the path at the very beginning of practicing our spiritual path is very, very important. Vision in Buddhism can be divided into two. One of them is understanding the karmic law. The second one is understanding the Four Noble Truths. According to Mahachakarya Sutta, the Blessed One says that Sammaditthi paham bhikkhave dhammadami. There are two stages of Sammaditthi. Ati bhikkhave Sammaditthi Sasava Punyabhagya Upadivepakka. One of them is understanding the karmic law, mundane level right vision, mundane right view. The second one is Atti Bhikkhave Sammaditthi Arya Anasava Lokuttara Magganga. That helps us to attain the peace of mind, eradicating all the defilements, which consists with the Four Noble Truths, understanding the Four Noble Truths. Here, if we want to receive the real vision, we should associate good friendship. That is very important. When we have good friendship, when we associate with them, we listen to Dhamma, and according to Dhamma, we develop our wise consideration, yoniso manasikara. The nearest reasons of Sammaditthi is that listening to Dhamma and wise consideration, or parato gosa and yoniso manasikara. These two things are very, very important to understand the vision, what we practice. When we receive this message, we can understand our path. The very first one is the understanding the karmic law. Before that, we should understand why do we need a spiritual path. According to Dhamma Sutta, the Buddha says there are three reasons what we need to find a spiritual teacher and his sublime message. If there are no these three reasons, we don't need to find a spiritual path or teacher. I think you can remember the Dhamma Sutta. Because of three reasons, we need to find a spiritual teacher and his sublime message. What are the reasons? Jati, Jara, Marana. Jati means birth. Jara means decay. Marana means death. Because of these three reasons, we need a spiritual teacher and his sublime message. When the Supreme Buddha attained enlightenment, before the enlightenment, before night, he realized the three jnanas. One of them is the Pubbe Nivashamsati jnana, and Dibbachakku jnana, and Asavakya jnana. Pubbe Nivashamsati jnana explains he realized the past experience, and also he saw the people, beings are born and die. That is the very first jnana knowledge that he gained before he attained enlightenment. Pubbe Nivashamsati jnana. Buddha says very clearly, he saw some people, some beings die and reborn. With this understanding, he explained the path for the purification, and also when he explained the Dhamma, first of all he wanted to point out the path not to fall into a hell, Sagga Magga. That is why Buddha always encouraged us to develop good deeds, three meritorious deeds, Sasava Punya Bhagya. This word is very, very important. Punya Bhagya. Mahachakarya Sutta explains the very first step of Sammaditthi, Punya Bhagya. What are the punyas which help us to become a blissful life? If we don't attain enlightenment in this life itself, we need a blissful life hereafter. That is why first of all Buddha explains the heavenly life. Sometimes, such as Vyagapadya, he came to the Buddha and asked, Bhante, please explain some teachings that helps us to become a blissful life. And please explain something for this life too. Buddha explains some teachings that help us to succeed in this life and also to succeed hereafter. Buddha explains some teachings for next birth, not only next birth, but in that teachings we can see that helps us to achieve the Nibbana too. That is very important. Saddha Sampada, Sila Sampada, Chaga Sampada, Panya Sampada. Those qualities help us to not to fall into hell, and it helps us to become enlightenment too. This is very important. Very first vision is that the way how to become a blissful life. The Buddha says three meritorious deeds. Dhanancha samakaryancha metta chittancha bhave. Dhanancha samakaryancha metta chittancha bhave. Dana means generosity. Samacharya means sila or 5 precepts. Metta Chitta means loving kindness meditation or Samatha Bhavana. With the understanding of the first level of right vision, we know how to develop our mind to the maximum level in the mundane level with the understanding of the karmic law. That is very first thing. With the understanding of this level, we know the Noble Eightfold Path until Samma Samadhi. And also we can develop Dana, Sila and Bhavana. Especially we can practice Samatha Bhavana as the result of attaining jhanas. We are able to overcome 5 hindrances. 5 hindrances: sensual pleasure, ill will, sloth and torpor, restlessness and worry, skeptical doubts. These are the hindrances that disturb our peace of mind are reduced in the mundane level to the maximum level. And also the second one, understanding the Four Noble Truths or understanding the Nibbana. According to Asankata Samyutta in Samyutta Nikaya, it is very clear, Buddha explains, Asankatancha vo bhikkhave desissami asankata maggancha. That's a very special explanation. Asankata Samyutta in Samyutta Nikaya. Asankatancha vo bhikkhave desissami asankata maggancha. Asankata means the unconditioned. or nirvana, nibbana, emancipation. In that samyutta, everywhere the asankata is same. What is that? Ragakhayo, dosakhayo, mohakhayo, asankatam. Katamanchauso asankato. Ragakhayo, dosakhayo, mohakhayo. Ragakha means the complete eradication of craving. Dosakkhaya means the complete cessation of ill will or anger. Mohakkhaya means the complete eradication of ignorance or delusion. Everywhere asankata is same. Ragakkhaya, dosakkhaya, mohakkhaya. But when you refer that asankata samyutta, it is very important. Asankata magga is different from place to place. Sometimes Buddha says practicing Sammaditthi is the path that leads to the unconditioned. Sometimes Buddha explains Samma Sankappa. Sometimes he explains Samma Vacha, so on. Satara Viddhipada, Metta Bhavana. There are many things that we can see there as the path. There are many paths that we can see. But the very first one, asankata, is same. Here it is very important to understand the vision is same, but missions can be seen in various ways according to the audience, according to the persons. Buddha explained the path in various ways. That is very important. But it is very important to understand, before we practice mission, we should have correct vision. Vision is first. Sammaditthi purejan. Right understanding is first. Right understanding is the forerunner. And also Buddha says, Dittincha anupagamma silava dassanena sampanno. This is the darsana sampatti, the accomplishment of vision. There we should understand how suffering arises and how suffering ceases. Vision is first. Vision without mission is useless. And mission without vision is blind. Therefore, both vision and mission are very, very important on the path of liberation. But very special thing that we should know, Buddhism has explained not only vision and mission, but the results too. Vision, mission, result. Satyajnana, Krutyajnana, Krutajnana. And Satyajnana means vision, Krutyajnana means Sila Samadhi Prajna, or the Noble Eightfold Path, and Krutajnana means Vimukti, Vimukti-jnana. Satyajnana means right understanding, Krutyajnana means the Noble Eightfold Path, Krutajnana means Sammajnana, Samadhi-mukti. That is very important. Mostly we can see in the world vision and mission, but Buddhism explains vision, mission and result. Vimuttasmin vimuttamiti jnanam hoti. He who liberated from suffering, he knows that I have liberated from suffering. That is a very special knowledge, jnana. And also here, we should understand the Four Noble Truths. When we refer some discourses such as Dhammacakka Sutta, some sutras, some discourses are very short. There are more explanations we can see in another place, such as Dhammacakka Sutta. When we refer Dhammacakka Sutta in Samyutta Nikaya, it is very short. But when we go to Mahavagga Pali, we can see with details how Panchavagya bhikkhus attain enlightenment little by little. When we refer the Dhammacakka Sutta in Samyutta Nikaya, we may think that the 5 ascetic monks attain Sotapanna at once. But when we go to Mahavagga Pali, we can understand Anya Kondanya first attain the very first level of spirituality, experimentary, Sotapanna, then Vappavaddi, and finally Mahanamasadi. With some details we can see about the Four Noble Truths and other things in Mahavagga Pali. So in this situation, we have to follow several places for some topics. When we understand especially Four Noble Truths, we should refer Dhammacakka Sutta, Mahavagga Pali, Satya Samyutta in Samyutta Nikaya, and Satya Vibhanga in Vibhanga Prakarana, and finally, especially we should refer very special definition in Four Noble Truths which come in Yamaka Prakarana in Satya Yamaka. There we can see very special explanation about the Four Noble Truths. But firstly we can understand the explanation of Chaturarya Satya or Chaturarya Satya, the Four Noble Truths in the Dhammacakka Sutta which comes in Samyutta Nikaya. There dukkha is explained in the surface level. Katamancha also dukkham, jativi dukkha, jaravi dukkha, vyadivi dukkho, maranavi dukkham, so on. Finally it explains Sankirtena panchupadana khandha dukkha. In short, arising of 5 aggregates is the noble truth of suffering. Here explains dukkha and dukkha satya both together. But we should understand when we refer Yamaka Satya, Yamaka Prakarana, there is a difference between dukkha and dukkha satya, samudaya and samudaya satya, magga and magga satya, nirodha and nirodha satya. And also, when we refer some discourses such as Gamampati Sutta, if a person has a clear understanding of one truth among Four Noble Truths, he is able to understand other truths too automatically. That is very important. If a person can recognize or understand dukkha satya, he is able to understand other 3 truths too. In this situation, especially we should understand the very special explanation of Chaturarya Satya, the Four Noble Truths which come in Yamaka Prakarana. There says Kāyikam dukkam, cetasika dukkam, tapetva avasesam dukkha satyam na dukkam. If there are anything besides physical suffering and mental suffering, that is the noble truth of suffering. That is not suffering. Again it says Kāyikam dukkam, cetasika dukkam, dukkhancha, dukkha satyamcha, such as jati, jara, marana. They are suffering and the noble truth of suffering as well. The very first explanation that Kaikan dukkhan, cetasika dukkhan, tapetva avasesan dukkha satyam. If there are anything besides physical suffering and mental suffering, that is the noble truth of suffering. That is not suffering. And also physical suffering and mental suffering are the suffering and the noble truth of suffering as well. This is a very deep explanation. That is why Buddha says before he preached Dhamma to the world, Patisotagamin Nipunan Duddha Sangana. This message is like going upstairs against the water. And also Buddha says after he attained enlightenment, in the first sermon Buddha says, Pubbe anunusutesu dhammesu chakku mudapadi jnana mudapadi. I realized something that I had never heard. This is the very special thing that he realized when he attained enlightenment. You know, Siddhartha, Prince Siddhartha, before he come to the ascetic life, he had understood Jati, Jara, Marana, Vyadi. He had realized before he came to the monastic life, he had known these things. After he attained enlightenment, he says, I realized when I attained Buddhahood, I realized something that I had never heard. This is the very special thing. What is that? If there are anything besides physical suffering and mental suffering, that is the noble truth of suffering. But very special thing, dukkha in Pali language is very difficult to translate it to other language. Dukkha means it is not just suffering, it has a deep meaning. The noble truth of suffering means it is not physical or mental suffering, it is the truth. As a truth, it is true. But again Buddha says, Kāyikan dukkhaṃ cetasika dukkhaṃ dukkhaṃ ca dukkha saccāṃ ca. When we receive some sufferings in our day-to-day life, such as decay, death, sickness, separation, those are also sufferings and the noble truth of suffering as well. As the Buddha explained this truth for the 5 ascetic monks, Pancavaggiya Bhikkhu. This meaning, the very first experience that we receive through our senses. When we contact something through our eyes, through our ears, through our nose, through our tongue, the very first experience is neither painful or pleasant. That is neutral. That is just result or vipaka. It is very instant. It arises and ceases very soon. In the vipaka level, the result level, we are unable to recognize it. That is why the Buddha says, Na pancahi viññānehi kinci dhammam pativijanāti anyatra abhinipāta mattā. We are unable to recognize something completely through 5 consciousnesses. What are the 5 consciousnesses? They are Chakku Viññāna, Sota Viññāna, Gahana Viññāna, Jivha Viññāna, Kaya Viññāna. There we can have a knowledge about the colors, but only the very first level understanding, that not the deep understanding. Without senses, we can't hear, We can smell, we can taste, but in the primary level, in the vipaka level experience, we are unable to recognize something completely. Sabbe dhamma mano viññāna dhahatya viññeya. Everything we recognize through our mind consciousness. When we understand something through our mind consciousness, the very first experience, the vipaka level experience, Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, Vijnana, that first experience has already ceased. When we recognize something through our mind consciousness. Even just now, when you see something, when you hear something, you usually think that I recognize something through my eye consciousness or ear consciousness, but actually we recognize everything through our mind consciousness. And also when we recognize this thing, the very first experience has gone. And also Yamakapatana explains the difference between Samudaya and Samudaya Satya, Nirodha and Nirodha Satya, Magga and Magga Satya too. We will explain it another day when we will discuss the Four Noble Truths. Today I wanted to explain only one truth, the Dukkha and the Dukkha Satya. And also, according to Sammaditthi Sutta, in Majjhima Nikaya, it explains the 16 ways how we achieve the right understanding. In the deep level, right understanding or asankata means ragakaya, dosakaya, mohakaya. Sammaditthi Sutta in Majjhima Nikaya explains 16 ways how we achieve the right understanding. There it explains the very first thing is if a person can understand, Venerable Agrasravaka Sariputta explains how we gain right understanding or Sammaditthi. If a person can understand wholesome and unwholesome, kusala and akusala, and also kusala mula and akusala mula, the root of wholesome and the roots of unwholesome, he is able to understand the right vision, Buddhist vision. And also if a person can understand ahara or nutrition, and the arising of nutrition and the cessation of nutrition and the path that leads to getting rid of nutrition, that is also one of the ways how we can gain this understanding. So there are 16 steps, 16 ways that the Venerable Sariputta explains how we gain right understanding. They are understanding the Four Noble Truths is one of them. But the very important thing, when we understand the Four Noble Truths, we can understand other steps too. And also if a person can recognize Jara Marana, aging and death, Jati, birth, Bhava, the process of becoming, Upadana, clinging, Tanha, craving, Vedana, feeling, Phassa, contact, Salayatana, six senses, Namarupa, mentality and materiality, or mentality and corporeality, Vijnana, consciousness, Sankhara, mental formations, Avidya, ignorance, Asava, cankers, or taints. If a person can understand one thing, he is able to understand other things too. And also finally, there are same thing that we can see here. What is that? The path. The path is same. Sometimes vision is explained in various ways. Magga is same. Sometimes the vision is in the same way, Magga is different. But here, the vision can be gained in various ways, but the Magga is same. What is the Magga? What is the mission? What is the path? Practicing the Noble Eightfold Path. That is very important. This is the vision and mission in Buddha's message. Vision means understanding anything. Jara-marana, jati, power, and finally the Four Noble Truths. And the mission. Mission means what we should do, the Noble Eightfold Path. And this is the place where we should be confident in. Saddhati Tathagatassa Bodhi. This is the understanding of the Buddha. When we have confidence in these teachings explained by the Supreme Buddha, our inner courage, motivation gradually increases to go forward on this path. This is the place where we can see the qualities of the Dhamma, Sammaditthika, Akalika. Sammaditthika means visible results, Akalika means immediately effective. And if we receive this vision, our inner courage increases to practice this path, then we meet the path, the Noble Eightfold Path. The Noble Eightfold Path is explained as the fearless path, as the direct path. Ujjuko nam somaggo abhayanam sadisa. This is the direct path. This is the fearless path. And also, the very important thing, when we practice the Noble Eightfold Path, all other doctrines, especially the 37 spiritual faculties, spiritual factors, Sattis Bodhipatthika Dhamma, they gradually increase, they gradually develop. That is the very important thing. When we discuss Sammasati, the fourfold mindfulnesses are there. When we explain or practice Samma Samadhi or right concentration, the four jhanas are there. When we practice loving kindness meditation, where is the loving kindness meditation in the Noble Eightfold Path? Samma Sankappa, Avyapada Sankappa. When we practice generosity or renunciation, where is it? In the Noble Eightfold Path. Samma Sankappa, Nekkhamma Sankappa, renunciation. When we practice energy, there we can see Samma Vayama, right energy. When we understand the Four Noble Truths, where it is in the Four Noble Truths? The Four Noble Truths belong to Sammaditthi. Sammaditthi means understanding Dukkha, Samudaya, Nirodha Magga. And also, the Noble Eightfold Path is the path or mission. But the very first one we should have as the Sutame Jnana, the knowledge of hearing. Then we practice the Noble Eightfold Path. Attanga Samannagato Seko, the training person practices the 8 steps, and Dasanga Samannagato Araha. Arahantas have 10 factors. with Sammayana and Sammaditthi too. After he attained enlightenment, he has knowledge that he has liberated from suffering completely. With this understanding, if we do anything according to Asanya, Asankata, Samyutta, no matter whatever we do, everything belongs to our Magga or path of liberation. That is very important. One day, the Buddha's disciples went to another monastery, another religious monastery. Then there are other monastic ascetics asked very interesting question. They asked that, Venerable Sirs, we also practice loving kindness meditation. Your teacher, Gautama Buddha, also explains the loving kindness meditation. Then both of us are same. Is it correct? They asked. But those monks couldn't reply. They were silent. They came back to the Buddha, explained what happened to them. The Buddha says, monks, do you know the difference practicing loving kindness meditation between we and other religious people? Our metta bhavana has a difference. What is that? Buddha says, our practice belongs to Vivekanisitam, Viraganisitam, Nirodhanisitam, Vosaggaparinam. We practice everything focusing on liberation or emancipation. Vosaggaparinam, focusing on attaining enlightenment. Other people, mostly they practice concentration, focusing on Brahma realms. But the very special thing that we can see in Buddhism is that we start our spiritual journey with right understanding in the Four Noble Truths. Then, when our mind gains concentration, what do? We reflect on impermanence, anicca, dukkha, anatta. That is why Buddha says in Samadhi Sutta, samahito bhikkhave bhikkhu yathabhutam pajanati. He who attains the concentration reflects on impermanence. Samahito bhikkhave bhikkhu yathabhutam pajanati. He who gains concentration reflects on the reality. What is the reality in this world? Anicca, impermanence, dukkha, dissatisfaction, unsatisfactoriness or suffering, anatta, selflessness. Everything that we meet, that we experience, we contemplate on them as anicca, especially we reflect on arising and ceasing. Every moment our body arises and ceases. Our mind also arises and ceases. This is the nature of our life. Every moment our mind and mental formations arise and immediately they cease. They cease without remaining anything, but the present moment influences the next moment. The previous moment influences the present moment. The present thought influences the next thought, next moment. But nothing goes here and there as permanently. That is the very important thing. That is explained according to the dependent origination. That is the very important thing. When we compare other religions who believe the karmic law and the samsara, They explained something, especially mind and mental formations, which go from birth to birth as permanent. But Buddha says, I don't proclaim anything which goes to the next level from this moment. Buddha says, I don't proclaim anything which goes to the next birth from here. Buddha says very clearly, I never had explained even this present moment doesn't go to another moment as permanently. In this situation, how do I explain which goes to next birth from here? That is the very special explanation of the Buddha. Okay, dear Venerable Sirs, today I wanted to explain the vision in Buddhism. Vision means understanding the Four Noble Truths. It is explained in various ways, especially in the Sammaditthi Sutta. Venerable Sariputta explains Sammaditthi, or right understanding, in 16 ways, and also finally he explains the path that leads to getting rid of suffering, the Noble Eightfold Path, Arya Attangika Magga. And with this understanding, we, the Buddha's followers, do everything according to the Noble Eightfold Path. When we speak something, that belongs to Samma Vacha, right speech. When we do something physically, that belongs to Samma Kammanta, right action. When we think something, that belongs to Samma Sankappa, right intention or right thoughts. When we concentrate our mind, it belongs to Samma Samadhi, right concentration. When we practice mindfulness, that belongs to right mindfulness, Samma Sati. And it is very clear that if we have correct vision through listening Dhamma and associating good friends, we always live according to the Noble Eightfold Path. From morning to night, whatever we do, physically, verbally or mentally, everything that we do, living in the Noble Eightfold Path. Finally, we can understand we manage everything in our day-to-day life according to the fourfold mindfulnesses. And again we can see we do everything reflecting on impermanence, arising and ceasing of five aggregates. Finally, we have to do only one thing, reflecting on impermanence of mind and mental formations of Manovinyana. And we see the world Sunyato Lokam Avittasso. That person sees the world as the empty village. What does that mean? When we think something, not only which happened in the past, but even what we are experiencing at this moment, when we understand it, we understand everything through our mind and mind consciousness and mental formations. The material world has already ceased. if we have this understanding, we have nothing to attach or detach. This is the place where we can see the visible results of the Dhamma, what the Buddha explained. This is the vision. With this vision, we should manage everything that we do in our day-to-day life. Especially as monks and nuns, we have a great duty to understand this message, and we have a duty to practice it in the maximum level, because we are the people who practice this message, who protect this message, and who bring this message from generation to generation. That is why Buddha established this sasana, Bhikkhu sasana and Bhikkhuni sasana. Our great duty is that learning, practicing, protecting, and bringing this message from generation to generation for the well-being of many people in this world. Okay, dear friends in the Dhamma, Venerable says, I am going to end this session with these few words, and a very special thing. No matter whatever we do in our day-to-day life, we do everything with this vision. What is the vision? We should become understanding that we never depend on anywhere. If our mind is fixed in outside world, it means we are ignorant. If our mind depend on our mind, here also we are ignorant. If we see that the outside world at this moment has ceased wisely, it means we are not ignorant, we are wise, we are living with wisdom. At the same time, we should reflect on our inside too, that says in Buddhism that tatta vipassati, our manovinyana or mental formations are also arising and ceasing at the moment. Then we have no nimitta, no place to fix, animitta and sunyata. We see the world as an empty village, and appanita, we don't take anything as essence, as good, as present. Since we have attained real wisdom, which helps us to overcome delusion or ignorance completely. And the vision is that understanding the suffering and the noble truth of suffering, and mission means practicing the Noble Eightfold Path, and results means getting rid of suffering or eradicating raga, dosa and moha completely. And when those negative thoughts, unwholesome mental states reduce from our mind, we understand, now I have no these kind of developments in our mind. Finally, we are aware of that according to Chittanupassana Bhavana. Vimuttan chittanti pajanati, avimuttan chittanti pajanati. When mind is liberated from developments, we understand our mind has liberated from these negative thoughts. When mind has not liberated from developments, we understand that situation too. This is our highest understanding. Okay, Venerable says, now I am going to end this topic, vision and mission in Buddhism. You have received a very small handout, and again in your WhatsApp group you can see a bigger handout with the all explanation about Sammaditthi Sutta in Majjhima Nikaya with 15 pages. When you refer your WhatsApp group link, there you can find that article too. As you are interested in, you can follow those articles too. And if you have any question, now you can ask those questions too. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. By the power of all these spiritual energy that we acquired here, may all of us be well, happy and peaceful. Finally, may all of us attain the final bliss of liberation, Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Dukkham pantāca niddukkhaṃ, bhayam pantāca nibbhayam, sokam pantāca nissokam, hontu sambe pipanino. May all beings be well, happy and peaceful. May the triple gem bless you. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.